How's it going, everybody? This is RBT coming at you with week 15 of my college football 2013 picks. And yes, this is going to be the last week of my picks for the season, sadly, but it is. Last week of the regular season, conference championship game for some. Some it's the last week of the season, regular season games and whatnot. But yeah, it's sad, last week of the season. But this is going to be my last pick video of the season. I will come at you with a video picking all of the bowl games, just like I did last year, and also just like I did last year. I'm going to come out with a prediction video for each and every BCS bowl, and I'll also do an NCAA Football 14 sim matchup for each and every BCS bowl. And I'll do that just like last season. And then this season, I think I did this last year, I will come at you with a recap of each and every bowl game, just like I did last season. So there's a lot coming forward, and I'll be covering the coaching firings and hirings that happen in the next couple weeks. Looks like either Chris Peterson or James Franklin's going to be the pick for USC. So we'll have to see what happens there, and I'll come at you with a video for that and all the other major hirings and firings. So that's what to expect for the next couple weeks, and definitely going to be doing just some other stuff mixed in, but this will be my last full pick video of the season, which sucks because it seems like the season went by so fast. And but it is what it is. And one of the regular season games that's going on this week is the South Alabama Jaguars versus Louisville Lafayette Raging Cajun. This is a big game for South Alabama because win this game, we're 6-6, have a chance to go to the GoDaddy.com Bowl. And I'll get to that game in just a little bit. That's why I'm repping my South Alabama stuff. But yeah, this video will actually be a lot shorter than the others because there's only like 16 games this week. Probably less than that. Usually there's about 60 or so. So gladly this will be a shorter video because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I got to do some studying for finals tomorrow. Awesome. But let's get this thing going. It sucks the last week of the season. It sucks that Alabama lost last week. But life goes on. And we just got to wait a whole another season. But at least next season we'll be bringing in the college football playoffs. So that'll make things a little bit better and a little bit more fun. And can't wait for another season. But the season's not over yet, guys. The season's not over yet. They have a fun weekend coming up, and who knows what's going to happen. And I'm about to tell you what's going to happen. So let's get into it. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games. So this should be going by maybe 20 minutes or so. But let's go with the first game. Louisville at Cincinnati on Thursday night. If Louisville wins this game, I believe, and UCF loses, they'll have a share of the conference championship. And whichever team is ranked higher, which obviously would be Louisville, they go to a BCS bowl, which will probably be the Sugar Bowl because they get the second to last pick. Last pick is Fiesta. They'll probably get Northern Illinois. But I do think Louisville wins this game. Cincinnati's been doing very well this season. This is going to be their 10th win of the season. I think they're almost ranked, actually. They've been playing very well. Brendan Kay's been doing some good things for them. They've been playing pretty good offense. They lost much ago earlier on in the season. So they've been doing some pretty good things, better than I thought they were going to do in Tommy Tuberville's first season as head coach. But they're facing Louisville. Louisville, it has the best quarterback, I believe, in the country, especially projected in the NFL. He's an absolute beast. The offensive line has been a disappointment for him this season. Offensive line's been playing pretty bad, but with the outside threats they have, the running backs they have, including Michael Dyer, obviously, like I just said, a great quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater. He's not going to let them lose a second game this season. He wants to have them right in there with a chance, depending on what UCF does, a chance to go to a BCS Bowl, and what is probably going to be his last regular season game at Louisville, because, I mean, pretty positive he's going to be going to the NFL next season. But, yeah, I think they beat Cincinnati. I really do think they do. Teddy Bridgewater isn't going to lay down, and I think they're going to get the win. It's going to be a fun game, though, playing at Nippert Stadium at night. I think this is their first primetime game of the season held at Cincinnati. So it's going to be tough, but I think Louisville pulls it out at the end. Cincinnati's going to be in this game to the very end, but I go Louisville by a touchdown, 35-28 over Tommy Tuberville and the Cincinnati Bearcats. I think Cincinnati is 9-2. So actually, Cincinnati, if they win and UCF loses, will have a share of the conference championship with UCF. Which in that case, I believe, Cincinnati might be ranked at that point, but it seems like UCF, if everything goes as planned, will make the Sugar Bowl, or at least a BCS Bowl. But yeah, and it's crazy because Cincinnati's only loss in their conference this season was to South Florida. South Florida is one of the worst teams in the country. But Cincinnati's been playing good defense, good offense, but they're still sitting at 9-2. But like I said, Louisville by a touchdown. All right, Friday night you have the MAC championship. You have Bowling Green versus Northern Illinois. If I'm not mistaken, this game's played in Detroit, the Lions Stadium, just like it's been in the past couple seasons. I think Northern Illinois wins this game. I've watched them plenty of times this season and that's such a smart marketing type situation with Northern Illinois. I'm not sure if they're ranked this high without playing all their games on weeknights. I mean, yes, it kind of sucks for the atmosphere, for the college experience, for the students, the fans playing on weeknights. But being able to be on prime time every single night, ESPN2, just about every single time they play, to have all these people key in on them. If somebody wants to watch football and they're the game on, that's what's going to be watched, is Northern Illinois. And so many people got to see who Jordan Lynch is, see how Northern Illinois plays. And that's why I believe they're ranked up at 14 and have a great shot at making a BCS Bowl, which will probably almost certainly be the Fiesta Bowl against probably Oklahoma State. But it's such a great marketing move by them. Jordan Lynch, I think, is right now second in the Heisman race because everybody else has fallen off, and it's pretty much down to him and Jameis Winston. If Jameis Winston's come out in the next couple weeks or so, and he's charged with whatever he's going to possibly get charged with, rape, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm just saying, if he does, I think Jordan Lynch could be the first Heisman winner for Northern Illinois. I think it really could be. I think he right now is clearly in second place. He's an absolute monster. He'll gain some more votes this Friday night because the country will see how good he is. He's an absolute baller. They play some pretty good defense at times. They have some pretty good players around him, but I really do think he is the most valuable player in the National Football League. Wow, in college football. You take Jameis Winston off of Florida State, I still think they're at least a 10-win, maybe 11-win team. Without Jordan Lynch, Northern Illinois might not be a 500 team. He is an absolute monster. He controls the game. He's an absolute beast. Now looking at Bowling Green, they're actually a very good team. If I'm not mistaken, they've knocked off some pretty good teams in competition. They're 9-3 right now, one loss in the MAC, and that was to Toledo, which is also a very good team. But this is a Bowling Green that's very, very capable of putting up some points, playing some good defense. They're fifth in the country right now in points against, 13.9 points a game, and that's with a 42-point game against Indiana. So you look at this. I remember this. For the last 4 games, they put up their defenses gave up a total of 13 points. 3 points to Miami, Ohio. Shut out Tyler Tettleton and the good Ohio offense. Gave up 7 against Eastern Michigan. Gave up 7 to Buffalo, who has a very good offense themselves. Almost beat Mississippi State. Lost by 1 point, 21-20. Only limited them to only 20 points. When they just beat Mississippi State and gave up 28 to a very good Toledo team. So this is a team that can come out and shock you. They're very good. But I really cannot pick right now against Jordan Lynch in Northern Illinois. So I'm going to go Northern Illinois by a touchdown, which could shy away some voters, but I don't think anybody would give Bowling Green the credit they deserve because they're a very good team. But I do think Northern Illinois wins this game by a touchdown. I'll go 38-31 Northern Illinois over. I don't know that. No, let's go 34-27. 34-27 Northern Illinois and Bowling Green. That is a pretty big statement due to the fact that Bowling Green has such a good defense. But I still give Northern Illinois 34 points because Jordan Lynch is such a great player. But like I said, 34-27 NIU over Bowling Green. All right, going into the Saturday games. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. well, we have 8 games that aren't conference championships on Saturday. More than I thought. But first of all, we have Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. Honestly, don't know how Oklahoma is still ranked. I mean, 17 is, I mean, not ranked, but I would expect them to be more in the bottom of the top 25 with the number 17. That's still a pretty high ranking. And they're going into Stillwater to play a very good Oklahoma State team. If Oklahoma State did not get beat by West Virginia, which I think was a fluke loss, they could be the number 3 team in the country right now very easily. But they're sitting at number 6. They've been playing some very good football. I mean, beat the number 4 team at the time, I believe, or number 5 team, Baylor, whatever they were. That's still a very impressive win. Absolutely blew them out the water. Defense played great. Their offense is amazing. They should have no problem against Oklahoma. This is a big rivalry for both schools, but I think Oklahoma State is kind of like the game they played in 2011 where they absolutely blew out Landry Jones and the Sooners. They were trying to play for a national championship in that game. They'll come out. They still have an outside shot at doing so, but they need Florida State and Ohio State to lose, and they would need a lot of people to put them above Alabama, which I wouldn't think would happen. They still have an outside chance, but no matter what, I think they beat Oklahoma. They beat Oklahoma pretty bad. I'll go 42-20 Oklahoma State over Oklahoma in this one. Too good a defense, explosive offense, really good underrated receivers on the outside. Oklahoma State big. 42-20, is that what I said? Something like that. Alright, now we have UCF at SMU. Kind of questionable about UCF right now. They're trying to hang on to their conference lead, trying to win the conference, trying to go to their first ever BCS Bowl, which would be big for the program, which I think is a very good program. And if you look at UCF, if they're undefeated right now, that would give them a win over South Carolina, which was very close to happening. This is a UCF team that could be ranked number 3 right now. They really could. It depends on how voters would deal with the strength of schedule and whatnot. But with the win, if that would happen, with the win over Louisville and a win over South Carolina, that's probably better wins than Ohio State and Florida State both have, honestly. But I really think they could be ranked that high, and UCF could be playing for a national championship in this game if they don't lose to South Carolina. But regardless, I think they beat SMU. But I think the nerves get to them because this is a must-win. If they lose to SMU, I think Louisville jumps them in the polls because they're close enough already. But I think they jump them, and Louisville can go play in a BCS Bowl if they beat Cincinnati. But I think they pull it out of their butt somehow. Like they did last week in South Florida, they ended up creating 5 turnovers. Blake Bortles didn't play his best ball, but they found a way to win creating turnovers. I think they somehow did the same thing. I don't think Blake Bortles will struggle as much as he did last week at times. I think they'll get the run game going. I think they should beat SMU. SMU was absolutely destroyed by Houston last week. I mean, this is a SMU team that throws the football around like crazy, and they got shut out by Houston last week, 34-0. So I know Houston's a pretty gosh dang good football team, like I've said before, but I don't think they can beat UCF. But I don't think I would have gave South Florida much of a chance either. So I think it'll be a little bit closer than some people think. I mean, this game's going to be in SMU on ESPN. I think the nerves get to UCF a little bit. I mean, this is somewhere they've never been before. I'm trying to make history in the program, but I'll go UCF by 10 points, 30-20 over SMU. All right, next we have Marshall at Rice. Marshall kind of disappointed me last week. Well, no, never mind. For some reason, I was thinking something stupid. They surprised me last week. Absolutely blew out East Carolina. And by limiting them to 29 points, that was actually a pretty big accomplishment given how good East Carolina's offense is. And Marshall absolutely blew them out. They have a great shot to win the USA. I think this is actually the Conference USA Championship game. Wow, my bad for belittling this game to a point. This is actually the Conference Championship game. My bad. Yes, it is. Wow. Marshall only has 1 loss in this USA. I'm guessing Rice has. I'm not even sure how many. Rice has 1 loss himself. Both teams are 9-3. Wow. I apologize to both programs. I had no clue this is a Conference USA Championship game. But I guess this game's played at Rice, obviously. I don't know how because both teams are 7-1 in the conference play and haven't played head-to-head. But I guess they won home field advantage. I'm going to have to go with Marshall. The way they've been playing, Rakeem Cato, I think, is one of the most underrated and unheard of quarterbacks in the country, and he's absolutely amazing. I know I'm not sure of his stats this season, but he's an absolute beast. He can throw the ball around, very, very accurate, has a big arm. They throw the football around like tops in the country. They really do have an explosive offense. Really impressed me last week at holding East Carolina to 29 points. Only got to see Rice play one time against Texas A&M early on in the season, but they really impressed me then. They really did. They have a really good quarterback who can run the football, some good players on the outside, a really good running back, and I'm sure they've improved since then. But I still have to go with Marshall with the way they played last week. They have the momentum, and I think they come out playing like they did last week. I think they get the win. I'll go Marshall by a touchdown, a high-scoring game because both really good offensive teams. But I'll go Marshall 45-38 over Rice. And they'll win this USA. Next we have Memphis at Connecticut. And these are two of the bottom dwellers in the AAC right now. Connecticut's actually on a 2-game winning streak. They actually beat Rutgers last week, and that really did surprise me. I did see the trick play that Rutgers had on the fake field goal for a touchdown. And after I saw that, I thought Connecticut was going to lose with the way they've been playing. But they, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Connecticut in this one, ending the season with a 3-game winning streak after losing their first 9. But Memphis has not been much better. They're absolutely blown out by Temple last week. They have 3 wins on the season, but it's not been against the greatest of opponents. I think with Connecticut with the momentum, Memphis getting blown out the last couple weeks, I think I'm gonna go with Connecticut in this one. Yeah, I just look at the Connecticut stats, man. They were awful. One of the worst offenses in the country, one of the worst defenses in the country. But you got to go with them having momentum. They beat Temple. Memphis lost to Temple by about 20. So Connecticut with the momentum by a touchdown. Connecticut 24, Memphis 17. Next we have Texas at Baylor. I think I'm gonna pick an upset here. And if that's the case, if I'm not mistaken, Texas wins a share of the Big 12. I believe. I'm not real sure. They could either win a share of the Big 12 or they have to have Oklahoma State lose to have a share of the Big 12. Which would still be pretty impressive with the way they started the season and played throughout the season. But I think they upset Baylor. I think they do. I think they get back at Baylor where they've done to them in the past. I think they come together. They've been playing a little bit better as of late. I think their run defense is a little bit better. They absolutely demolished Texas Tech last week, and I expect not the same, but I expect them to win by about 10 points. I think Baylor's still a very good offense, but I think the last couple of weeks they've kind of been exposed. They almost lost to a pretty bad TCU team last week, only won by 3, and that was a really close game. I still believe they have an explosive offense, but I think it really, really did demoralize them whenever they were blown out by Oklahoma State and kind of made them believe that they were not as good as they were. And that really hurts programs like that. And they're still playing for a share of the Big 12 title. I mean, they're still playing for a shot at a BCS Bowl at large a bit. But I still think Texas wins this one. Rivalry game. I think Texas wins by about 10 points. I'll go 40. Let's go by a touchdown. I'll give Baylor a touchdown. 42-30 Texas over Baylor. Alright, next we have the SEC championship game, Missouri versus Auburn. Before I talk about this game, what about this, guys? What about if Ohio State loses to Michigan State and Florida State loses to Duke? What about an Iron Bowl rematch in the national championship game? What an epic game that would be. That would be absolutely unheard of. One of the biggest rivalries in college football playing again in the national championship game. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it's a possibility because I think everybody agrees on the fact that if that happens, that's the case. That's what's going to happen. Who's gonna jump Alabama? I don't think anybody really can. The only argument you can have really is Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma State really, their only loss is to West Virginia, who's not a good football team. So kind of the same case in 2011 when their only loss was against Iowa State. But I don't think that could happen. So what about that? That would be amazing. And yes, I'm an Alabama fan. And I'm hoping for it. I'm hoping for it because don't care what you say. You just laugh at us for saying we want to backdoor our way in there. I mean, who in their right mind would not want your team to play in the national championship, no matter what it takes? no matter what it takes. You want your team in the national championship game, and you can't deny the fact if you were in the same situation, you wouldn't do the same. So I'm hoping for it. Not saying it'd be fair, but I'm still hoping for it. But it's probably not going to happen. Maybe if Duke can surprise the country, it would happen. But I think it's a lot more easy for a lot more logical for Duke to beat. I mean, for Michigan State to beat Ohio State than it is for Florida State to lose to Duke. But talking about this game, Missouri at Auburn. I think when you look at Missouri's defense with the athletes they have up front, I think the speed they have, I think they actually match up a little bit better with Auburn's offense than Alabama did. Daniel Sams is an absolute beast of a player, and I think he might disrupt some stuff up front. But I think really looking at these two teams for different reasons, I think my mind really wants to tell me that Missouri is going to win this football game. But how in the world are you going to pick against Auburn with what's happened in the last 3 weeks? Auburn has had two of the biggest comebacks, not comebacks, but most miraculous comebacks in the history of college football in 2 straight weeks. They have a shot to win or at least play for a national championship game because they've had the 2 craziest endings of any football games in history in 2 straight weeks. How are you going to pick against Auburn in this game? I don't know how. I don't know why. But I'm going to pick Auburn in this game just because of it. I mean, obviously, something magical is happening in Auburn right now. That's the only explanation I have for my pick, because there's just no way you can pick against Auburn right now. I think Missouri's going to win. On paper, I think they'd win. But I just can't. I can't pick against Auburn with the way they've been finishing games and pulling games out their butt. I'm going to go Auburn by a touchdown. No, let's say Auburn. Okay. Missouri is at the 2-yard line, and they're on 2-yard line. They're winning the game by 4 points. They're winning the game by 6 points. There's 10 seconds left on the clock, so instead of having a possibility of a fumble or whatever, they try to run out the clock, and they self-enforce a safety like teams do sometimes, just to kind of run out the clock. At that point, they'd only be up by 4, and they have to punt after the safety, and Auburn brings it back for a touchdown and wins the game by 4 points. I'll go Auburn 34-30 over Missouri, and that's what's going to happen. A self-imposed safety, and then the safety punt return for a touchdown. That's how Auburn's going to win this game. It could happen. It could happen. Alright, but that's what I'm picking for real. Auburn 34-30 over Missouri. Don't know why, don't know how, but I'm picking them. South Florida at Rutgers. Alright, guys, I guess you can consider this an upset pick, but I'm going to pick South Florida in this one. Rutgers has been playing very, very bad football lately. South Florida is not a good team themselves, but sorry, but I'm not going to say they impressed me last week because they turned the ball over 5 times, but they were in the game with one of the best teams in their conference. So you got to say they did something right last week. They're playing this game at Rutgers, and Rutgers is fighting for bowl eligibility. They'll have their 6th win if they win this game, but I'm just going to pick South Florida. Rutgers been playing very bad football lately. They've lost, after starting the season 4-1, they've lost 5 out of the last 6 to when you got a team coming off a loss against Connecticut, I'm not sure really that how much confidence you can have in that team. It seems as if they're kind of choking. Even to Temple, they almost lost, and Temple's one of the worst teams in the country. So I gotta go to South Florida. It seems like Rutgers is choking. They're trying so hard to win their 6th game and go to a bowl game, but I don't see it happen. I got South Florida winning this game by a field goal, 27-24 over Rutgers, and we'll send Rutgers packing for the offseason. That'll be a big one for South Florida. I mean, they're just playing for pride right now. And here we go, the Pac-12 championship game. Stanford at Arizona State, and this game decides who plays in the Rose Bowl. If Stanford wins this game, I think that I still think Stanford will get into a BCS Bowl. I don't think they drop too far, but I think Stanford wins. These two teams have played earlier on in the season, and Stanford took care of them. I still think Stanford's a very, very good football team. I know that Arizona State has the home field advantage this game. Don't get me wrong, Arizona State's a very good football team, and they can win this game. A very good offense. Marion Grice, the quarterback Taylor Kelly's never talked about, but he's an outstanding quarterback. Very good offensive line head coach in Todd Graham. But I just think the physicality of Stanford, the front seven, I think should limit them to a point. It's hard to limit their offense, but I think if there's a team to do it, Stanford is the one to do it. Shane Scove, trying in his senior season, he's not going to let that front seven get beat by Arizona State. I think they contain the run, contain Taylor Kelly for the most part, kind of like they did earlier on in the season. Stanford wins the game by a field goal. It's going to be tough, though. I mean, it's going to be an insane environment. Arizona State has the biggest enrollment rate in the country. I think they have 56,000 students there. So, I don't know how many of them are going to be there, but you can expect a packed, loud stadium. Because, I mean, some of those 56,000 students are going to be there. But I'm going to go Stanford, running the football. I say they win this game by a touchdown. I'll go, instead of 42-28, I'll go 35-28, Stanford over Arizona State in a close game. The game will come down to the fourth quarter. I fully believe in Taylor Kelly, and that home field advantage is going to be crazy, but I still think Stanford finds a way to win. Shane Scove and that front seven will allow them to lose. I fully believe in Kevin Hogan, too. I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the country, and I say that both of them. I say that a lot, but he's very good. I'm not going to say he reminds me of Andrew Luck, but the way he plays, the way he's built, the way he approaches the game reminds me of Andrew Luck. Will he become an Andrew Luck one day, be as good as Andrew Luck? I don't know. It's a possibility. He has the skill set, but I mean, that's impossible to predict. Gosh dang, why are they showing the highlights of the Iron Bowl? Frick. Get off my screen, gosh dang it. Sorry. But I'll go Stanford, 35-28 over Arizona State. All right, here we go. Duke versus Florida State. Duke, the second string team of destiny. They're finding ways to win games. Not necessarily like Auburn, but they're finding ways to win. Last week against North Carolina to win the ACC Coastal Division. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know the divisions in the ACC, but I do know they won their division last week. They had big plays after giving up a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to North Carolina to take the lead. Duke comes back, returns the kick, and they didn't look back from there. Won a close game, took an interception late in the game as North Carolina was driving. All they needed was a field goal to win. But they stayed strong, won the game 27-25. And you can bet on everything that Duke's going to come out firing on all cylinders, and they're going to be ready to play. And I think the one thing that Florida State could be hurt on is the fact that they could be overlooking Duke. They cannot be taking Duke seriously because it's Duke. I mean, face it, when people look at Duke as a football program, they laugh. But you can't now. They're a respectable football team. They're ranked 20th in the country. They've won, I'm not real sure, 8 straight games, I believe, at least 7. They lost 2 games. One was to Georgia Tech convincingly. The other was to Pittsburgh by 3 points. So this is a Duke team that could be very easily have one loss right now. They've won 1, 2, 3, had 8. Yeah, they have won 8 games in a row. And they've continued to get better and better, finding ways to win. They beat a very good Virginia Tech team, beat Miami pretty convincingly, and they've struggled the last 2 weeks, but they found ways to win. That's all that matters. They're pretty good across the board. They have a pretty solid defense. They have a dual quarterback system. Boone and Kennedy, I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Kennedy's actually more of the runner. Boone throws the ball a lot. I think Kennedy, however you say his last name, sorry. He actually broke the Duke single season rushing touchdown record, so that's something there. So they have threats. They have players. They have their wide receiver Crowder. Watson plays a shorter guy. He actually has 1,000 yards in the season. So they have playmakers. They're no fluke. They're a solid football team. Playmakers all over the field. 2 solid quarterbacks. So I think they come out ready to play, and they played fired up. David Cutcliffe is a heck of a football coach. I've even said before in my Titans videos, and we know that David Cutcliffe has ties to the state of Tennessee. If Titans fired Mike Munchak, I would be more than glad to go after a guy like David Cutcliffe. He's a heck of a football coach. I believe he should win. Either him and Gus Malzahn should win the AP Coach of the Year. They're just heck of coaches, and I think the way David Cutcliffe has turned around the Duke football program and such quickness. That's amazing. It's been a Duke football program. It's been the bottom of all of college football for the past decade. And it comes in 3-4 years. It has them playing for possibly an Orange Bowl berth. That's absolutely insane. But Florida State's just too much. I think they come out overlooking Duke, like I said, come out kind of flat, kind of like they did against Florida. But eventually, in the end, Florida State just has way too many athletes. It'll take an absolute crazy game, kind of like the Iron Bowl. It'll have to take them making so many mistakes, absolutely beating themselves with penalties, turnovers, and I just don't think a guy like Jameis Winston will allow that to happen. He's a heck of a quarterback, probably going to win the Heisman unless he's actually accused of what. He actually is convicted of what's been accused of him. But what if he's accused or prosecuted this week and he comes out he's guilty and he can't play in the game? Obviously, if that happens, that'd be. I mean, that's a whole different story. I mean, that would be a big factor there. But I mean, assuming that's not going to happen, I just don't see a way Florida State's going to lose. They're solid, and if not solid, they're awesome in every single position on the football field. Great offensive line, athletes all over on the defense side of the football. Some of the best wide receivers in the country. So I think Duke, they play tough. They play tough, maybe in it at halftime, but I just don't see a way that Florida State loses this game no matter what. I hope they lose. I hope they do. As an Alabama fan, I don't care what you say, don't care, make fun of me, whatever. Hope we backdoor away in the national championship game, because who can't? Who doesn't want that to happen? But I'll go Florida State. They should win this game pretty convincingly. Like I said, if it's going to happen, they have to play an absolute horrible game. They have to play their D+ game. Duke has to play their A+ game for this to happen. But Florida State should win this game by somehow at the end, pull away by 3 touchdowns. I'll go Florida State 45, Duke 24. Wouldn't surprise me if this game's kind of like, I don't know, 21-17 at half. Florida State winning, but they'll pull away. They'll pull away. What did I say, 45-24? All right, here we go. Louisiana Lafayette and my South Alabama Jaguars. If I'm not mistaken, Terrence Broadway is actually injured, and that's the quarterback, the all-hyped quarterback for Louisiana Lafayette, who was the reason that they were supposed to come out and run away with the Sun Belt. But let me check real quick. If I'm not mistaken, he's injured, he's out, and we won't have to worry about him. Yeah, Brooks Hack is their quarterback right now. And they've played bad the last 2 weeks. They lost Louisiana Monroe last week, their rival, who South Alabama beat really, really bad. They blew them out of the water. They almost lost to Georgia State the week before, who has not won a football game this whole season. The season before, Georgia State won 1 game. That's an FCS team, and they come in this season as an FBS opponent and haven't won a game. They almost lost them. I think they won by 4 points, 35-31. When they came out last week and absolutely blew them out. So we're playing this game at home with the chance to make a bowl game. If we win this game, it's, from what I hear, it's a good possibility that the GoDaddy Bowl picks South Alabama over the other schools in the Sun Belt that are bowl eligible, because, I mean, obviously, their home stadium that they play in, they'll attract a much larger crowd. There's never really a huge crowd at the GoDaddy Bowl. But that will obviously maybe even pack the stadium, because if that happens, I might go with my previous record of Alabama games going to this year's Iron Bowl, 2011 LSU, and 2010 Auburn. I might not go because I'm obviously bad luck for football. But the South Alabama game that I did go to this season that I broadcasted, they won by a lot against Kent State. But I'm not sure if I want to jinx them. But regardless, I do think South Alabama wins. Louisiana Lafayette obviously isn't the same team without Terrence Broadway. Losing to teams like Louisiana Monroe and almost losing to Georgia State, they're obviously not the same. But we're going to come out playing inspired football, possibly Ross Matheny's last football game in his lifetime, because I don't think he's going to make it to the NFL. He's played very good at points in this season. Very good. Very impressed with him. Very impressed with the way he's played this season. Didn't play so well last season, but he's come out a whole different quarterback this season. And sometimes he looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the Sun Belt. It might very well be. But he comes out running the football. If he struggles, you always know we have Brandon Bridge in the back. Please don't bring in Brandon Bridge if Ross Matheny isn't struggling, because when that happens, that's when problems happen for our offense. But I think we should come out. We have some pretty good receivers, pretty good playmakers, a lot of seniors on this team. Come out playing inspired football, and we in front of which I would expect to be a pretty good crowd. I think South Alabama wins and gains bowl eligibility. I'll go South Alabama 34-27 over Louisiana Lafayette, and hopefully allows us to get a GoDaddy.com bowl bid. Alright, last conference championship game of the weekend of the season. Ohio State versus Michigan State. And this is actually where College Game Day is going, and that's kind of surprising to me. Really thought they'd go to Auburn and Missouri for the SEC championship game. Even Chris Fowler at the end of the College Game Day last week came out and was talking to the fans on the intercom or whatever, and telling that he was like, "Hey," he was telling everybody, "Thanks for being a great crowd," or whatever. It's like, "Hey, we might see you next week in Atlanta." And everybody started cheering, and hey, they're going to Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship game. But this is going to be a tough one. I mean, I think this is the game that Ohio State can lose. Michigan State has an absolute amazing defense. I honestly think Michigan State may have the best defense in the country, putting up absolutely insane stats. Great team. They beat some they played some pretty quality opponents and have held them to minimum yards. Their only loss in the season against Notre Dame, that was earlier on in the year. Fourth in the country right now, giving up 12 points per game. Give up only 6 to Michigan. The most points they gave up all season was to give up 28 to Indiana and 28 to Nebraska. But aside from that, I mean, look at this. No points to Purdue, 3 points to Illinois, 6 points to Michigan, 6 points to Northwestern, 3 points to Minnesota. I mean, this is a defense to come out and make you look silly on offense any given week. So, I mean, I fully expect this to be a great game. But the problem I see for Michigan State, though, is their offense. Their offense is really inconsistent. One week, Connor Cook come out, look very, very good. Next week, come out, look horrible. They have a tandem of running backs. But for the most part, it's Langford that plays. Is it Jeremy Langford? Yeah, Jeremy Langford, powerful back, has over 1,200 yards on the season, 10 touchdowns. 16 touchdowns. I expect this to be a great game. Whether this is going to be lost or won for Ohio State is the quarterback, Braxton Miller. I'm not really sold. I don't think Carlos Hyde has a good game. Michigan State's absolutely amazing at stopping the run. So the downhill running ability or game that Carlos Hyde brings, I think that's a bad point for Ohio State in this one. I think Michigan State completely stops Carlos Hyde in this game. What was unseen is if they can stop Braxton Miller and stop his ability to escape the pocket, run for first downs, create plays downfield, throwing the football. So that's going to be the question mark around this game. So I'm not sure Michigan State has seen a quarterback like Ohio State this season. But on the flip side, I don't think Ohio State can really stop the run game Michigan State. I think Michigan State probably surprises some people with the points they put up on Ohio State. So on both sides, I think the offense scores a little bit more than all the experts think. I think Langford has a big game. I think Connor Cook, this is his. I believe he's a senior. He has a chance to go to a Rose Bowl for in his last season as a college quarterback. They'll come out inspired. Nobody's really giving them a shot to win, and I do think they win. Inspired football, playing great defense. They create some turnovers. I do think Braxton Miller has a pretty decent game, but I think there is at least 1 or 2 turnovers that he makes himself that does end up costing them the game in the end. I'm going to go Michigan State by 3 points, 24-21 over Ohio State in this game. Might get some slack from that some hate from that for some Ohio State fans, but that's what I think is an opinion. You don't have to agree with it. But I'm going Michigan State 24-21 over Ohio State. And last but not least, Fresno State and Utah State for the Mountain West Championship. It kind of sucks for Fresno State because if they won last week, they had a shot to play for a a BCS Bowl if Northern Illinois can slip up this week. But they were absolutely demolished last week, absolutely destroyed by San Jose State, especially in the second half. They played great offensively in the first half, and then San Jose State comes out and holds them to 6 points in the second half. Yes, Fresno State's defense came out, made some adjustments, only held San Jose State to 20 points in the second half, but still they lost by 10 points, gave up 62 to San Jose State. I never expected that to happen, man. That was absolutely insane. David Fowles of San Jose State had 450 yards passing and 6 touchdowns in the first half. In the first half, he had 6 touchdowns. I think he ended up with 7 touchdowns passing. One that he ran for a touchdown. Maybe he didn't throw a touchdown in the second half. Only threw for about 100 more yards. But still, giving up 62 points to San Jose State, that really, really worries me for the Fresno State fans in this Mountain West championship game matchup. At Utah State, I'm not sure if Chucky Keaton's back and healthy. Let me check real quick. That will really impact my decision. But they're on a big winning streak, won 5 games in a row. They are 7-1 in the conference. They actually beat out Boise State for this spot, so that kind of surprised me. Their only loss is to Boise State in the Mountain West Conference. But let me check. If Chucky Keaton plays, I expect them to win. So that's actually pretty big in my opinion, and he has not played since week 6. Who has played in his behalf? Yeah, I should have known that. I saw a couple weeks ago that Chucky Keaton's out for the season. I should have known that. My apologies. But who is this playing for them? Daryl Garrettson, a freshman who is throwing for 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He runs quite a bit too. Hasn't had great success running the football, but yet adding sacks and whatnot. Hasn't played great football as of late. He actually had a 11 QBR 2 weeks ago. I think I have to go with Fresno State. If Chucky Keaton plays, I would have gone Utah State, but Fresno State in their offense, I think, definitely comes down to quarterbacks. A freshman and a senior, and Derek Carr, who is statistically one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Fresno State, man, might be pretty big. I'll go by 17. I'll go 47-30. Fresno State over Utah State in the Mountain West Championship game. So that's it, guys. That's going to be my last weekly prediction video for the 2013 season. Kind of sad, but I'll be here for the bowl games and whatnot. So, kind of sad, but it is what it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed my picks throughout the season. Please leave a like if you did enjoy this. Let me know if you had any objections to my picks this week. Comment below if you did, and comment below with your picks for this week. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Subscribe because you're gonna be I'm gonna be coming at you with a lot of bowl game coverage, a lot of coaching coverage, all that happens, and a lot more. And you don't want to miss it if you're a college football fan. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Leave a like if you haven't already. And as always, roll tide, go Sox, and go Titans to you. Until next year, guys, have a great year. Hope another season comes around quick. I'll be back here next year making my weekly picks as always. But the season's not over yet, guys. We got to cherish this last month of the season, all these bowl games. If your team's season is over, don't know what to say because that sucks. But it could be as bad as Alabama. Could be having a chance to go to the national championship game. And now you're probably going to have to settle for playing in the Orange Bowl against Clemson. Could be that bad. But anyways, guys, have a great week. And if you're not going to watch another video till my next weekly predictions start coming out, have a great year. Hope you do stick around. But that's it, guys. Catch you next time. I'm going to go study for my final and that's going to happen in about 12 hours. Catch you guys. Peace.